to address the comments from Saturday after the game. I thought I was going to get a little different response, but I think my emotions got the best of me, and my comments wasn't intending to go at any of the fans around in the city. I understand the frustration. I understand everything that kind of goes into that. I take full responsibility of that. And, just moving forward, I want to make sure that I put the best product for the team, for the organization, and for this city so we can put a lot of wins and make sure that I celebrate and put Cleveland on the map.
Too little, too late. No one cares about your intentions. No one cares about Deshaun Watson taking responsibility for the toxic mouth farts that he released in his disastrous press conference over the weekend. Why are the fans booing me? The only time I get cheers in Cleveland is when I'm seriously injured and out for the season. I hate this town! No one cares about your commitment to put Cleveland on the map. Hell, Cleveland is already on the map. There is a reason that Cleveland is known as the mistake by the lake. The exciting announcement that came from the Browns yesterday morning, it is a prime example of why Cleveland has earned that title. Headline at ESPN. Deshaun Watson named Browns starter. This is going to be amazing. We're the heavy favorites to get the #1 pick in the draft. Woohoo! Yes, yes, yes. I feel bad for the fan base in Cleveland. This fan base reminds me of the fan base in New Orleans. Passionate, dedicated. The team is a representation of the city. The team is the heartbeat of the city. When we were suffering through the absolute misery of the Dennis Allen, Derek Carr era, and believe me, it was miserable. I remember when Donnie Carr arrived in New Orleans, he was asked which world-renowned restaurant that he went to first. Emeril's, Brennan's, maybe you went for breakfast at Cafe Du Monde. New Orleans is really known for two things, food and booze. Where did Donnie Carr take his family when they arrived in New Orleans? We had a really nice meal at Chipotle. It was swell. That was the beginning of the end for Derek Carr in New Orleans. You see, the thing about New Orleans, this city, really the region down here on the Gulf Coast, this fan base is loyal to a fault. We have a tendency to be blindly loyal, even to role players. Tell someone in New Orleans that Herb Jones needs to be traded. May 28th is not on Herb Day. They gave this dude his own day because he made first team all defense in the NBA. Herb Jones hasn't won a damn thing in his NBA career. Hell, the Pelicans can barely win a damn game. But if you embrace the city, if you embrace the culture, if you love New Orleans, New Orleans will love you back. Even though I don't live there, I think it's the same in Cleveland. This fan base is loyal. They will blindly support their guy. But that strong emotion, it works both ways. As fierce as the loyalty can be, the disdain can be just as strong. Once they have had enough, once they are done with you, they're done. And there is no denying the fact that the fan base in Cleveland is done with Deshaun Watson. Problem is, ownership doesn't feel the same way. This is pure speculation on my part. I think starting Deshaun Watson is an ownership decision. I also think it was a reactionary decision, a decision made out of panic. Less than 48 hours after that disastrous press conference where Deshaun Watson is crying because he was booed by the home crowd, the Cleveland Browns announced him as the starter. They announced Deshaun Watson as the starter 3 weeks before the regular season begins. This was obviously a gift to local radio in Cleveland. They've got nothing else to talk about with this team except a future of losing. But for the next 3 weeks, they get to talk about this flaming ass fire of a franchise, which is exactly what you want as someone in talk radio, especially in late August. Anger is much more entertaining. Anger is much better for engagement. If it were up to first-year head coach Todd Monken, I think Shedeur Sanders would be starting. Of course, Todd Monken has been given the unenviable task of trying to explain why Deshaun Watson is the starter. We looked at the full body of work, and we believe Deshaun gives us the best chance to move the ball and score points. Yeah, I noticed Todd Monken did not say Deshaun Watson gives us the best chance to win. My guess is he knows the Browns will be lucky to win a damn game. Since 2022, there have been 50 quarterbacks who have started at least 15 games in the NFL. In terms of QBR, quarterback rating, Deshaun Watson ranks dead last. Uncle Casey, that's not true. Will Levis is in last place with a QBR of 28.9. Yeah, I'm not including Bill Levis since he is well on his way to being the fluids replenishment director, or as Adam Sandler prefers to call it, the water boy. Statistically, Deshaun Watson is worse than Zach Wilson. Think about that for a second. Deshaun Watson is worse than the dude who is currently being outplayed by Spencer Rattler. Zach Wilson is struggling to maintain his role as the third-string quarterback in New Orleans. Deshaun Watson is worse than that guy. So, how is he starting over Shedeur Sanders? Like I said, this is an ownership decision. When a billionaire is paying a quarterback $46 million a year, he's going to want him on the field. I don't care if he's a scrub. He could be the highest paid scrub in the league, but he's going to be a scrub on the field. You know, I feel bad for Shedeur Sanders, and to his credit, Deion's baby boy has handled this like a professional. You can tell behind the scenes that Daddy Deion is giving Shedeur Sanders guidance, which is exactly what a father is supposed to do. But I do feel bad for Shedeur Sanders. He botches the draft process. He believed the media hype that he was going to be a top 10 pick. Did you hear what Melvin Kiper said about me? He said I could be a top 5 pick in the draft. If Melvin says it, it must be true. He's never been wrong. Shedeur Sanders was publicly humiliated in front of the entire country. But he takes it like a man. Goes into training camp ranked dead last on the depth chart. Goes into last season barely clinging to his role as the backup to the backup. He's sitting third chair behind legendary future Hall of Famers like Joe Flacco and Dylan Gabriel. 3 months into last season, Shedeur Sanders finally given the opportunity to be the starter. Unsurprisingly, he was absolutely dreadful. Had a decent game against Pittsburgh. He was, I guess, average against the Titans. But other than that, Shedeur Sanders was the drizzling shits. And that's okay. No one was expecting a 5th-round draft pick to be Rookie of the Year. He goes into the offseason, goes into training camp, and this was supposed to be his opportunity to secure his role as the starter. Depending on who you believe, Shedeur Sanders did secure his role as the starter. He's damn sure outplayed Deshaun Watson last weekend. More importantly, though, the fan base in Cleveland is behind him. I know he is polarizing, but Shedeur Sanders is a likable player. Unfortunately for Deion's baby boy, he is learning the harsh lesson that the NFL is a business. When the guy in front of you is making $46 million a year, he's going to be the starter. But even with that being the case, this is a major mistake by the Browns. In any relationship, one of the hardest decisions to make is when to let it go. Even when you have someone on the side, it's hard to know when it's time to end the relationship. Divorce is hard. It's very expensive. In the case of the Browns, Deshaun Watson has a dead cap hit of $127 million this season, which means if the Browns release Deshaun Watson, $127 million would be applied to their salary cap. Their cap is $352 million. Do the math. 36% of their cap would be wasted on a player that's no longer on the roster. The Browns are stuck. They're stuck in a toxic relationship. But there comes a point when you just have to cut your losses. When Deshaun Watson is gone next season, his dead cap hit is $86 million. Following season, it's almost $52 million. Now, obviously, they can spread that number over the next few years, but the Browns are going to be dealing with this flaming ass fire long after Deshaun Watson is gone. So, what's the difference in addressing the problem, ending the relationship now? This team is going nowhere. You traded Myles Garrett. Browns are projected to win 5.5 games this season, which I think is 4.5 games too many. This team sucks. You're not competing for the division. You're competing for the number 1 pick in the draft. You already know what you have with Deshaun Watson. Hopeless, washed, constant injuries, fighting with the fan base. You can get away with being a problem if you're winning, if you're elite. Teams are willing to tolerate a lot when you're winning games. What you can't be is the drizzling shits while starting shit. There's only so much shit people can take, and when you suck, it's none. With Shedeur Sanders, at least he gives you a glimmer of hope. It may be false hope, but at least it's something. Shedeur Sanders has earned the right to be the starter in Cleveland, mainly by default. Browns don't have anyone better. You've already punted this season. There are no expectations. There's no pressure to win. This is the perfect opportunity to see what you have with Shedeur Sanders. If he fails, fine, who cares? At minimum, you'll have a top 3, top 5 pick in the draft. If Shedeur Sanders improves, if he reaches his potential, then you have your quarterback. It's a win-win. What you have with Deshaun Watson is a lose-lose. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.